Hello, everyone, and welcome to Petite to Queen's Claim Your Career Crown podcast. I'm your host, Lynn, and I'm joined by our VP of Operations, Amanda, and our special guest, Les Postnikoff. And today we're going to be talking about higher order thinking and having a growth mindset in business. So this is a phenomenal topic, something that I absolutely want us to dive into. And I want to tell you about our guest, Les. He is a coach who works with high performers and those who aspire to be high performers. His approach is built on a framework of systematics, higher order thinking, and principles of mindset mastery, which he uses to introduce new mental modes. The mental modes help clients think differently, achieve more, and live better lives. Just a little bit about his background. Les had many executive leadership roles with organizations throughout North America and around the world, as well as more than a decade as a business owner. The range of companies he has led or provided guidance for include Fortune 500 companies, early stage startups, publicly listed .coms, and international technology companies. He served as a chair for Tech Canada, known as Vistage Worldwide, before launching his higher order thinking program, and he still continues in his private practice. Les works with individuals and businesses who are interested in growth, including C-suite executives, small business owners, athletes, business professionals, and entrepreneurs. By building on his own experiences, Les is able to help clients use higher order thinking, the higher order thinking approach to achieve their own version of personal and business success. From humble beginnings on the Canadian prairies, sort of sounds like Alberta, he weaves stories of living as an expat in a war zone, leading international technology companies, owning his own golf course, running ultra marathons in South of Africa, and now managing Parkinson's disease by living his own life by design. He thrives by helping others do the same. Wow, Les, I'm just so thrilled to have you here today. Thank you for being our guest.
You're very welcome. And just as a bit of an add-on to what you said, my view on the world is very much along the lines of if we get a second chance in life, I want to come back as me. So there you go.
Well, good for you. That's an amazing philosophy, and I definitely share that. It's been a wild roller coaster of a ride. So before we get started, for anyone who is joining us for the first time, don't miss out on a single episode. Subscribe to Claim Your Career Crown wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, please give us a 5-star review. We would certainly very much appreciate it. Okay, well, Les, let's get right into this because you've had such a wide range of personal and professional experiences. How did you find your way to becoming a mindset mentor?
Well, everything for me is usually about stories, and I think my story really is one of curiosity. I've been kind of on the fringes from the youngest age that I can remember. I've always been involved in sort of achieving things or being involved in I was either a captain of a team or I'd be able to go on adventures and do interesting things. I had what I thought was kind of an interesting life for myself. But I was always curious, why were some people doctors, or why were some people lawyers, or why were some people mechanics, and so on. I was very curious as to, what made the difference between one person and another. So that was kind of the origins of sort of my curiosity. And then one day, 25 some odd years ago, I met a gentleman who became my mentor and someone who I've cherished for the rest of my days, Dr. Bernie Nowakowski, who introduced me to the notion that not only can you do things better, but you can actually learn how to think better. So he introduced me to the concept of being able to do things through better thinking and a better mindset. So when I learned that skill from Dr. Nowakowski, I sort of made a decision on my own that I want to do that. I want to be a mentor like he is. I want to be a mentor for others as he was to me. So
that's terrific.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I definitely agree with your curiosity that you describe about why some people go down this path or down that path. I also find that really interesting. Can you explain what exactly higher order thinking is?
Yeah, higher order thinking is really a structured, kind of a logical, systematic process that we go through to, I suppose I'll use the word understand better, or understand anything. And the result of understanding things better is we're able to think about them and do better things and achieve better outcomes. So at the end of the day, if we desire better outcomes, we need to do some better thinking. And if we need to do some better thinking, we do better doing, and we get better
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm a
results.
really,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm an absolute believer in growth mindset, and it's amazing how far it can take you when you keep pushing yourself, pushing those boundaries.
Well, absolutely. And if we've got things to measure, one of the things that one of the criteria, there's actually three criteria for something to be of higher order in my world. One is it has to introduce, it has to be able to reconcile differences between things, between people, between organizations, and so on. Strengthen the harmony between things. And then thirdly, it has to be sustainable. We're trying to resist entropy here. So if a decision or an action doesn't meet those three criteria, it really isn't of higher order, and we keep thinking and we keep pursuing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. How can we each achieve higher order mindsets?
Well, I suppose in the same way you get to Carnegie Hall, you practice. It's a trainable skill. The first thing I suppose you need to I suppose acknowledge is there is a higher mindset. There is a higher order of thinking. We often get caught up in what I refer to as automatic mind or automatic thinking. We're a product of our background. We're a product of our experience. Personal experiences make up 80% of our worldview, and yet our worldview is such a minusculely small fraction of what the real worldview of the total worldview is. So, in essence, to get to a higher state of thinking, or to have more mindful, higher order thinking, it's a practice. It's an introduction to the theory, to the practice, and to some structure. It is all trainable. It is all learnable.
All right. Well, and I could not agree with you more. How can you apply higher order thinking into your business strategy? I mean, that's one that really makes me curious because I know we try to do that here at Petite to Queen.
Well, I'm a follower of a few people that I've been able to been privileged to either meet or work with through my days. One of whom is Jim Collins. And Jim
Yes.
Collins, the good to great person, or
Yes.
staying great, and all those famous books, really summed in his hedgehog presentation three things. What are we passionate about? What do we do better than anyone else? And how do we measure that? So from a higher order thinking perspective, we really embrace, and it encompasses and embraces those concepts. If we're not passionate, if we're not truly desirous and have all of our hearts and our minds behind something, it's difficult to do it as well as we'd like. If we don't do something to the best extent that we can, if we don't master it, mastery is a significant component of higher order thinking. If we don't master that which we do, someone else is doing it better than us, and as a result, what are we really getting by doing something sort of good as opposed to really really good, or mastering it? And then finally, how do we know when we're there? How do we know if it's working? So applying these concepts, higher order thinking concepts in business, is really a matter of starting, picking a place where you're rooted, your ground, refer to as grounding, and identifying, and accepting and recognizing what your belief systems are, where you came from, and where you're educated, and where your mindset is, and then identifying, through a process of exercise, where are you trying to go, and how will you
Yes.
know when you've got there? We need some resources to get there. We need to take those resources and put those into a formula or a recipe, and that is what higher order thinking is all about. It is identifying to the component level, a systems level, which is, if you will, how things work, and how can we work them and make them work to our benefit at the highest degree possible. So,
Yeah, that's really wonderful. Something that we talk a lot about here at Petite Queen is growth mindset. how can a higher order thinking dovetail with growth mindset to achieve more at work?
A wonderful question, and I'm a huge fan of Carol Dweck, sort of the person who made growth mindset, I suppose, quite sort of at the tip of all of our tongues, and those of us in business and out of business.
Yeah.
And first, the first step is really to again in Carol's world, or Carol's language, is to accept the fact that there is a growth mindset, and it is teachable, it is learnable. From in higher order thinking dovetails with that in that it now demonstrates it in a very unique way how to achieve a growth mindset and how to maintain growth mindset. So it dovetails extremely nicely, and in fact, all in the coursework in the courses that I provide, and the work that I do with others, both in business and personally, we use a lot of growth mindset activities. In fact, one of the things I do is do a growth mindset test. I like the people that I work with. I like to know where are they starting from. Are they starting at a growth mindset, or is in fact their mindset fixed? So we build on not everybody's at the exact same place in time, and so we try and build on where they are, and have them agree that yes, they would like to improve some of their thinking, and then work outward from there. The two go hand in glove.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, right behind me, I almost want to reach back. Well, I've got her book right behind me. So
Well, I've got her book on my shelf. I've got her book on my Kindle or my Kindle device, and so on. So I do fall back on her a lot. By the way, I also am a big believer in the work of Angela Duckworth, two very powerful, strong women who have created a language for all of us to to sort of use as a base for improving and getting better. So Carol through a growth mindset, and of course Angela Duckworth with her work on grit. So
yeah.
big fans, and they're part of there. I also incorporate all of that into my work, and help people sort of use that as a base.
Yeah, absolutely. I will use those phrases quite a bit of gumption and grit, that you gotta have the gumption to go for it, and the grit to get up when you get knocked down and dust yourself off and try again, and let's figure out. I mean, that's a growth mindset. It's okay, well, what did I learn from this? What can I do differently? What can I do the same and yet just change this one little piece? And that's really a beautiful thing also in business, so that you can, I think with the growth mindset, you're open to additional ideas, different views and experiences that other people have, that gives you a more well-rounded perspective, especially in business. That diversity of thinking, they've shown time and time again that those organizations who really embrace that diversity of thinking have much stronger results, happier team members as well, because they thrive in that environment where their voice can be heard. So I'm going to sort of, go back to you. You consider yourself to be a mindset mentor, which is incredible. What does that mean, and why that term, and how do you help your clients?
Yeah, well, first off, I can't let you get away with that wonderful comment without me commenting back and saying that what a wonderful interpretation of the mindset work. So I become a bit of an admirer of your approach and of course your words. And now that I've got to meet you in this context, it makes it that much more special. But, the question was about myself. Let's ask that question again about me being a mindset mentor.
Yeah, because we really like, what does it mean to be a mindset mentor? Can you explain sort of the term, and then how you help your clients?
Yeah. So for me, being a mindset mentor really is about meeting people. First off, meeting people who want more than what they have at the moment. Not talking about necessarily material things, but they're somewhat dissatisfied, or they're curious, or they've suffered some things in the past, or going through that they've come to a decision. They said, and they've decided I want more.
Right.
I want some change. I can do better. I want better. I can be better. So I meet them there. Where are they at? And as a mentor, one of the things that I've discovered is that physical skills and mental skills, whether you're academic or an athlete or a business person, the skills we learn in school and on the playing field and everywhere else where we learn these things are only a part of what it takes to sort of achieve and get to the place where you want to go. You need the will and the mindset, actually, the proper training ground to get there. Let me explain a little bit what that means.
Yeah.
From a personal experience. I was once challenged to run a marathon, and I accepted that challenge. What I didn't say at that moment was I'd never run a marathon before. What I also didn't say was that the marathon I was asked to run was actually an ultra marathon, or 90 kilometers or 54 miles. And so I had to sort of, the reality I had to face was I couldn't run around the block, essentially. And now I've committed to running 54 miles in one go. So I could do all the physical training and all the, it took me 18 months to get it done. And to prepare physically and go through all, I had a team of physicians and physiotherapists and chiropractors and every possible person you could imagine to help me physically. But it was my mindset coach that I had at the time that helped me understand and receive and be better prepared for the challenges I was going to run into mentally, the steps along the way, what I had to, what was going to hurt me in terms of thinking, how could I be more positive in my thinking. And again, it's not about you can do it. It's not about this, pointless positive words. It really is about non-negative thinking as opposed to super hyper positive thinking, and trying to meet yourself where you are, and know that there are things you're going to bump into that are just not going to be the way you want them to be, and so training your mind it became very important, and I learned that firsthand. And 18 months after I started, I finished the marathon, or the ultra marathon. So in a similar way, I help people by doing something unique each and every day. We plan out a program, we plan a strategy, and for a period of time, whether it be a month, a year, or 2 years, we do something each and every day that helps, and not just be better than someone else, but be better than who they were the day before. So that's essentially my strategy, and that's what I end up doing with the people I'm fortunate enough and blessed to work with.
Wow. Well, that sounds incredible. I mean, and that's the key, is to keep pushing, and and that desire to be a learn-it-all, not a know-it-all. So that
A great term.
Amanda and I are definitely right there with you. And I want to say this has been such a great discussion. Thank you so much about sharing about higher order thinking and how it can be applied to business strategy and your career growth and your personal development. I know that our listeners are going to want to know more about where they can find you and find out more about you, Les.
Well, great opportunity for some self-promotion. Thank you for that. My website is www.lespostnikoff.com. My Instagram handle is @lespostnikoff. And either of those two will work to kind of connect with me. And I welcome anybody that's even curious about what I do to let's have a conversation and let's see what goes from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we'll be sure to include those links in the our post below. So just a click away. And Les and Amanda, this has been such an informative discussion. And for everybody who joined us, thank you so much. And if you have ideas that you'd like to share, you can, of course, leave us a comment down below. And we love hearing from you. We also really ask and embrace if you would like to send us a question or would like to suggest a topic for discussion. You can email us at jointheconversation@petitetoqueen.com. And of course, to stay current on all of our incredible resources, our articles, webinars, these incredible podcasts like the one today with Les, you can sign up for our weekly Wisdoms newsletter at petitetoqueen.com, and you won't miss a single thing. And I want to thank everyone who joined us. And Les, thank you so much. Amanda, thank you. This has been a great, higher order thinking opportunity and episode.
Thank you so much for having me as a guest.